Okay, mic is on now. So this is a pre-stream for what is to come. We have a major storm system that is expected to move through this week, and really a long list of continual more and more severe days that just keep coming. So just starting off, we're going to look at the day one, kind of look through day 1 through 5. Um, so just starting off, we can see that there is a bit of a slight risk that is expected to hit in parts of Kansas, Missouri, and parts of Oklahoma, as well as one inside of Texas. The one in Texas is just for more of the hail risk, while the other ones are for tornadoes. As we see, a 5% is expected inside of parts of OKC and Tulsa. 2% is expected to go all the way to the parts of Iowa. And there is a small chance in parts of the lower parts of Florida, and also for some parts of Louisiana and Mississippi. It does also come with a hatched 15% chance of hail, and that will be located in parts of Texas and also Oklahoma, more in the Oklahoma City parts. And that also comes with a 15% hatched for the later parts of the storm that enter in Missouri and other parts of Oklahoma and isolated parts of Arkansas and Kansas. And as we move into the day 2 outlook, we can see that it gets really, really big. And this is going to be the biggest storm of our week, most likely. Um, the second biggest storm will happen around the next week. So this one, we can see an enhanced risk that takes up many states. That was weird how I said that, but many states at once. And we'll see that this enhanced risk will be more expected to affect the 10% hatch risk of tornadoes. You can see up to EF2s or more inside of any parts of Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, parts of Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi, and some parts of Alabama as well. And that 2% and 5% still spread pretty much through that entire storm system as well. Another big thing will be um, just the wind and hail threat. You can see that there is a 30% of a hacked risk of hail. You can also see a little bit of a hack of a 5% of hail located inside of parts of Florida. But the wind, we're gonna see that there's a amount of 80 mile per hour or more winds as well located in a lot more areas here, and definitely not what we're expecting. Definitely was an increase in what we were expecting later or earlier this week. Will this be moderate? I don't know. If there would be a moderate risk, I would expect it to be more in the latter parts and more of these areas right here. That would be where the moderate would be. High risk, not even expecting it. I would not expect a high risk anywhere in this. But as we move into our day 3 outlook, you can see that this slight risk, again, once another huge risk. Most likely for hail and winds, I doubt this whole area will be 5% of tornadoes. I'm sure the 5% part would be more in the latter areas as the storm increases. Now, looking into the day 4 and 5 models, we are going to see that they do end up getting a little bit smaller, but this is further away. So we can see in parts of Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, and Iowa, there is a slight risk of severe weather. This will be causing issues anywhere in those areas. And then looking into day 5 is where it gets interesting again. We do get a pretty big 30% day in the same exact areas that we have today. And these are going to cause the same exact problems that we've been having for the past few days and weeks. Just a big chance that this could be in the moderate again in some of these areas. So definitely, if you're in these areas, that you guys have just been going through it at this point, especially parts of Arkansas. You guys got pretty big tornadoes already. Parts of Missouri, you do. There's a lot of big um, problems that have been happening. So I was looking to more of the forecast side of things when we're moving into the XRRR model here. We'll kind of look for today, kind of what's making these storms seem to be a little more interesting than we would want. But just starting off, this is the supercell composite. This is gonna kind of say how much energy there is to compress and make a supercell inside of these areas. Already, just now, there is a high factor of this. We see a bunch of that gray and blue already kicking off. But it gets interesting as we move into the night hours. As it goes forward, we're going to see an expansion to the west that is going to make a huge amount of energy possible for these storms to kick off, especially parts of southwestern Oklahoma. You guys are going to have a bunch of energy above you that's going to move out through the night hours. And just confirming that, we'll look at the severe tornado composite. Um, the reason why we're gonna see the 5% did not expand anymore is kind of based on that precipitation, where those supercells will be located, but also because when we look at this significant tornado parameter, um, it kind of stays really low to the south of Oklahoma, where those storms are not going to be as prevalent and isolated, and just really what's going on is a lot of these isolated storms are not going to have the energy. For parts of Oklahoma, we are going to see like a slight bit of energy that ends up, you know, popping up in parts of OKC that made our 5% come up. But I think mainly if we're going to have any bad storms that will bring a tornado or two, we're going to see it mainly in the areas of southwest Oklahoma, a little bit south of that 5%. And yeah, we'll look at tomorrow too. Let's check out tomorrow. It's gonna be a little bit less gonna look a little more sketchy just because of it being a little bit further out model. But we'll look forward as we put this model forward. The cap, I think the problem with that right now is just that I think what we're expecting to happen as worst case scenario, which is why they issued the 5%, is that if that energy does get developed as great as as if that energy can stay as soon as that supercell does end up coming, then I think it would, of course, make it better. We can look at the let's look at this real quick. Let's just see. Take triple R. Let's go into a local Oklahoma. Let's see. As we move forward, this is 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. We can see like development starting up around 7 p.m., which is the main time that the storm development is supposed to happen. But around 8 p.m., we are going to see that these storms, they're just kind of not growing as much. We're going to see that this precipitation is not going to be as severe. The most that we're going to see is these blips in the ahead cells. We're going to watch these grow in the future models and kind of get a big explosion as we see. Just in the next hour, we can see that big hail core in this storm that they're expecting. But mainly for the southern parts where the big, huge, crazy bit of energy, there's not really much storms down here to create that. But a bunch of isolated cells over OKC, which is why they do have the 5% there. Oh my goodness, ran away. Yeah, definitely not the greatest. And that's why they have that 5% more in the parts. Well, the hack risk more in these areas is because of that hail core and kind of the energy to the north. And then you could see that it does develop into more of a windstorm. If we can get a good look at this over Missouri. Yeah, there we go. There's the windstorm moving through Joplin in the overnight hours. You can see that windstorm just pushing. So we'll see. WJ and Mark and Purple Chef. How you guys doing today? Yeah, it's. I will say if we back up real quick, go back to the national. Um, the amount of energy that we do have, like let's just look at this dew point. It's absolutely skyrocketing right now. We can see all this moisture just building up. And then we'll see as it moves forward into the night hours, that west push is what's going to start those storms. That big west push that we saw in those two scans is why these storms are going to get popped off so easily, because we had a lot of dew this morning. And as it moves into the night hours, just that westward push into the eastern push is going to get a bunch of energy down there. And we can, like, look how much energy is inside of parts of, like, Mississippi right here. All that energy, even the dew points are going crazy in Ohio and Indiana. Like, it's literally crazy how much energy we're going to have tomorrow. A lot to work with. Let's just look over the, look at this model. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't seem like there's going to be much happen in Southwest Oklahoma unless we get like an isolated cell that does end up producing over that cape. And tomorrow we can just see a bunch of isolated cells. Look at how many isolated cells we have. Texas, tons in Arkansas, all the way in Ohio. Like all that in a 200-mile radius. And that just continues to spread into more of a windstorm. It's gonna be absolutely crazy to just look at that. Yeah, it is. That I think we have enough cape though. That's what I think. I really think that we are gonna have enough cape, but that cap is definitely gonna mess it up for us. Because if we just look at this, the unstable cape, look at this, all this energy that is stored. We got all that energy. Even tomorrow, a bunch of energy just, it's just wild. It's gonna be a fun storm to watch though. I don't know if I'll be live for it, but we'll have to see. And will it be interesting? Let's see. See if we can see this energy. Yeah, a bunch of energy still available in this newest scan. But it gets blown up tomorrow. Look at how much energy that we'll have tomorrow. Mainly in these areas around. It kind of looks like it caps out though. Right before midnight. That's interesting that this storm has less energy than the one that we had today. That's just because the cap. If we didn't have that cap today, it would be a different story. I don't think we released a new. Did they release anything new about today yet? Just some thunderstorm outlooks. Nothing interesting. I don't even think we have a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Yeah, we don't have anything right now on radar sight. That seems concerning, at least. Like there's some activity going on inside of Louisiana right now, but nothing crazy. Let's see. We'll look at temperatures too. I want to show you guys this. This one. Okay. Yeah, temperatures are gonna be wild for the next few days. Let's check this out. So moving into tomorrow, we're gonna have 90s in parts of Oklahoma, 80s up into parts of Ohio, even parts of Michigan. We're gonna get some 60s and 70s up there too. It's gonna be really, really warm. But we'll see as that push goes through. It's gonna move like 80s and 90s more into Louisiana, and then as it goes again, we're getting like 80s and 90s more in parts of Florida. And then as it comes again, we get our new system that moves in. And they bring 80s and 90s back into parts of Oklahoma and Texas. And another storm system is going to push that all the way into the south. And then one more brings it back into Oklahoma in the southern parts. Before finally we're going to see a big expansion coming in of this new storm system. Going to make it really, really cold around April 7th. But we'll see. Watch how this shoots up though. One day, we're going to see right there. Press the wrong button. But yeah, look at this. energy that happens. Either a big storm system comes through, where we have a split area of temperature, which is crazy. But we'll see as it regulates the entire United States basically about the same exact temperature. So it's going to be really interesting around April before we finally just start hitting that summer temperatures. And I'm not really sure what to expect at this point. Let's actually look at the future models, kind of see what they expect. This is my first time looking ahead. So again, looking forward, we see that storm system that does move through tomorrow. We're gonna see that bring a lot of storms. Let me get the PC loaded up. I know exactly what days. We're on the first. The first, we're supposed to have the severe weather in parts of Nebraska. This will be this storm in Nebraska, driven by that low pressure unit, into a big storm right here that happens that has a Wednesday 30%, and that will probably drive another marginal risk at least for that area before maybe just a general thunderstorm outlook in parts of Oklahoma. Then a lot of storms just to come through after that. Look at that. It seems like it's all just sitting over Oklahoma at that point. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri. Before finally just moving out is where the temperature gets wacky. The snow in New Mexico, driven by a high pressure unit. Dang. We get another snowstorm for the north. This is where it gets really, really warm everywhere. To see that push of that cold front. Bunch of high pressure though. It's gonna make it really dry, I think. That's what it looks like. We're gonna get a very big high pressure unit in Canada. That's gonna slow down our rain. And it'll kind of just wait. But if you look over here, it looks like we might have a bomb cyclone coming back. So that would mess up the weather pattern. This could be one of our biggest days of the year, though. Okay. Okay. We're gonna look at one more thing. Then we'll probably end it for today. We're gonna move to Radar Omega here. Alright. Okay. So right now, you can see these alerts. Check out the models on Radar Omega. Okay, so we can see some development. So we see development in many of these areas in New Orleans, in the south, where that marginal is. We'll kind of see that, still that 2% of tornadoes, and then right around the 9 p.m. mark, the development in the west. We go here. We'll put it here. Anyways, bit for y'all. We can see development in parts of South, North Texas and Southwest Oklahoma, and also development inside the slight risk to bring our tornadoes and slight risk inside of parts of Texas, and then that it doesn't even look like this part of the marginal risk really gets hit. Like it seems like they're not even gonna get anything. Also, there seems to be a possible isolated Now let's look at the models. So I think what they're looking at for these pop-up cells in these 5% areas in OKC and other surrounding areas. Around Chandler and Stroud, there seems to be like a pop-up supercell that happens. That kind of seems to continue. Let's just back here. Yeah, I can see that this probably does deserve that slight risk. Probably a big hail threat, and I would say more of the wind threat would be more the concerning area. That. And as for New Orleans, I just nothing crazy. Yeah, definitely very interesting to watch how this will start to change. We're gonna start working on a new live stream format. We're gonna try to get it more professional wise, and hopefully get a. Um, we're gonna try to get a moving word screen. Um, get information out without me having to say it. Say it. Um, that's stuff that I want to get done. As for right now, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do it right now. Look at all that cloud coverage. Please no more warning. Look at that. All that cloud coverage in the United States today. All right. I think that will end it for today. I think I got all the information out. So I hope you guys are able to take that into effect for these next few days. Hopefully, you guys you are gonna stay safe. We're gonna be watching a lot of these areas of as a severe weather does in there and continue. But we'll see you guys in the next stream. Hopefully, another video will get out. I've been really busy lately trying to get stuff done. Kind of getting school done for the rest of the year. Got ACTs and all that, state testing. But we'll come back and see you guys in the next one.